This is Seth Beamer, and you're listening to the Pivot Points Music Cast on Fader. Pivot Points dissects the lives of artists at their most crucial intersections, investigating the trials of this insane career and how they are overcome. These are the stories of the crossroads that, for better or worse, shape us all into the people, friends, and musicians we're meant to be. Today, I'm joined by my guest, JØHN TYLER. We're going to talk about his tenure in the Denver music scene and everything he's been up to, but first I want to introduce you to his music. This first song came out just a few short months ago and has already accumulated over 50,000 streams on Spotify alone. This is You Can't Save Me. JØHN TYLER, thank you for being here today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man.
Dude, yeah, I'm excited to get to do this. I feel like I do this a lot on this podcast, but have people who we don't hang out or we haven't met, but we've been in the scene together and we've never like, done the actual hangout. So
I know, yeah.
Cool.
We've been like kind of in the same like sort of like circle like of the Denver scene for like
I know.
Like how many years? Because you were in Wilderness.
Yep.
And I was in Vinyl.
Yep.
And we played Hometown together in like 2017.
Man, years ago now.
Dude, that's crazy.
That was such a special show though. That was fun.
Yeah, man. And that's back when 888 was playing and like they were kind of like still doing their thing, and that was a lot of fun.
Dude, that was a blast, man.
Yeah.
Dang. So when did you leave that band and when did you start doing your solo stuff?
So that was actually in August, I think.
Oh, that's not that long ago.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
It feels like it's been longer.
It does.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, life just kind of happened. I did Vinyl like from the time that I was like 19. You know, me and Andrew, who was the bassist, we started the band together.
Okay.
And he's been my best friend for like almost 10 years. We grew up together in North Carolina, had an apartment together.
And I was going to say, how old are you now?
I'm 28, so it's been like almost 10 years together with him and everything. And, you know, he never played music, but he was like always showing me new artists and stuff. And it was just like, really special, the friendship that we have. And so I was like, dude, you should just play bass. It's easy. It's four strings. Come on, like let's do it. Let's do a band.
Yeah.
And then like that's how we did it. And then, you know, we just kind of got started, and we're lucky enough to have Nick Banyos, who is now in Nashville. He kind of introduced us to Chase and Ben and the Redlands guys, and everything from there. It just kind of steamrolled. It was kind of like perfect timing.
That's awesome.
And then that's how we ended up meeting y'all and Alf and everybody at 93.3 and all that stuff. And it was just like it really felt like the right time. And you know, we did that for a long time. Your first project, you know, like it's always such a learning experience.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a great first project because my first project was not that cool. So
that's my first like official project. There was like 3 other bands that like we just don't talk about, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I've got those for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That one was like the first like real like taste of like, oh, okay, this is like actually like a viable career option, you know?
Cool. So did you know after leaving that band and after separating, were you like convicted to do this solo thing? Like, was that always on your mind?
It had been on my mind for a while, and like Vinyl had like a couple moments where I thought it was going to be done.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you know, I never wanted to stop making music, and I've always had this like, I don't know, like being in a band, I'm sure you understand this as a solo artist yourself, like it's a lot of like work and compromise in terms of like your creative vision. Like you're contributing to something, which is beautiful and it's awesome. It's like a really cool thing in itself, but there's also kind of like through that compromise, I feel like sometimes you lose a little bit of your own self in that. And what's really cool about being a solo artist is like having the freedom to like be like in complete control of your creative expression.
It's wholly you.
Yeah. And like for better or for worse, you get to express yourself. And so I'd always wanted to do that. I never really knew how. And I also had Vinyl. So it was like, I was always kind of like, that was my focus. Cause it's like, you know, when you got like 3 or 4 other people riding on it too, it's like, you know, like you're all trying to build a viable like life out of this thing, and it takes a lot of time, and never had the time to really do a solo project. But once the band was done, I knew I was like, I have to do this. Like, it was just the right time. I grew up listening to like, all like Blink-182 and Hawk Nelson, like all these like punk bands, and like Reliant K, Escape the Fate, like all of this like emo punk shit, and I was just like,
you're naming all my childhood bands too,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and so it was just like this thing where it was like I saw that it was like, okay, it's kind of like actually coming back into the mainstream a little bit. All like the punk and emo stuff was kind of starting to kind of spin back up again. Thanks, Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, right. I know. And Travis Barker. Thank you.
Travis Barker, man, that guy's everywhere.
He is.
So it was just like the kind of the perfect moment to do something that I've always wanted to do, and like my voice had matured to a point where I was able to start doing some of the stuff that I'd always wanted to do.
Very cool.
Like it took me like 10 years to learn how to scream, Like,
oh, dang.
It's
I still don't know how to do that. So,
it's like, it's so easy, but also so complicated at the same time. You're like, it's such a brain, mush. Like it's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but like.
So what are you doing with your solo stuff as far as a band? I mean, are you recording everything yourself? Do you hire some guys to record with you? What do you do?
I record everything myself. So I have an electric drum set, and then I have a bass and a guitar, and I do all the demos myself.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of bring in, like, I have a drummer, Andy Woodson, amazing guy.
Cool.
Such a good drummer.
Yeah.
Like, love
I don't know
that
if I
dude
know
to death.
Andy.
He played in Redlands.
Oh, okay.
He was the long-haired dude from Redlands.
Okay. Yeah.
Love him to death. He's like probably one of the best drummers I've ever played with. He's just
very cool.
Like he's like Travis Barker Jr., He's like,
and is he in Nashville too?
No, he's here in Denver actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he lives down in like Littleton, I think.
Oh, nice.
So he was the one that I actually brought on first, because originally our drummer from Vinyl was leaving, and so I was like, we were trying to find a replacement drummer, and I was like, let's get Andy. Like, he'd been out of the scene for a while, and he ended up getting sober, and so I was like, hey, I think he's just somebody that's like, there's those people that are like, you're too talented to not be doing this. Like, you were built to do this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it sucks that like addiction and stuff like that gets in the way, but I think everybody deserves to like feel seen and like get a chance to like prove that that's not who they are,
Well, what's cool too, I think, just to touch on the addiction thing, because I mean, we were both talking before this about being sober as well, and we're both sober, and I think that's the beautiful thing about music, is that it can be a hole to get into in the scene as far as getting into drugs and alcohol, but I think it's also beautiful that it's an escape from that as well.
Yeah.
So being sober, it can also be a spiritual escape from that, the bondage of addiction.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I always thought that like I had to be depressed or sad to like write my best music,
Yeah.
It was like, if I'm not feeling sad, then I don't have anything to write about. But I honestly realized, like, after I got sober and everything like that, I was like, like, honestly, that's really like actually holding me back. Like, to be able to reflect on a lot of that, I feel like I actually write some of my better material about those moments where I was feeling depressed or stuff like that, with a better vision, like hindsight of it, Do
you find a lot of your writing is about that experience?
I definitely grew up in a really, messed up childhood. Like, my parents got divorced when I was like 13, and I was like raised really Christian, but like really struggled with that sort of faith, because we grew up in like I grew up in the South. I grew up in North Carolina, so it was very like strict religious, like I'm talking like speaking in tongues and snakes kind of stuff, So like struggling with that, and like who I am as a person now, like it was pretty traumatic. I got in trouble a lot, and so like I think music has always been that thing for me that's allowed me to kind of express the struggle that I've got going on internally with whatever it is. It could be that, it could be addiction, it could be a girl. Just a lot about a girl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's all of us, man. Yeah.
It's like, damn, how many songs am I gonna write about this ex of mine? Jesus Christ.
And then you just get another ex and another song. And man, we're just Taylor Swifting over here.
I'm trying to stop that. I got a new girlfriend. I'm trying to just like, trying to just keep that one for.
That's good. It's too easy.
Yeah.
Well, this new song, Over It, that's your second single.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that one's about?
So that one is about an ex-girlfriend of mine that I know, right?
Hey,
call back. It's a song about like remember when I was writing it, I was talking with Andrew, the bassist from Vinyl.
Yeah.
And we had just gone to the gym. We just like worked out. And I was like, I was telling him, I said, I feel like I was this toy that she really, like, when she paid attention, it was like, oh, she really loves me. Like, I'm her favorite thing. I'm her favorite toy.
Yeah.
But as soon as we were done, it was just like, fuck you, bye. It felt like that sort of, yeah, that's what that's where the inspiration for the song came from, was that line. I was your favorite toy. I was your favorite boy.
Yeah.
Now I'm what you avoid. It's like, that kind of summed up the end of the relationship for me. And like, I made a lot of mistakes in that relationship, and there's a lot of things that I wish that I could take back from that,
Yeah.
There's a lot of lessons that I learned. And so I don't think I would have had it any other way, because I wouldn't be where I am today without that. But yeah, it was definitely something that I have thought about a lot over and over,
Yeah.
I've thought about it, and it's yeah, that's where that song came from.
Do you feel like, and we'll play the song here in a sec, but I just want to ask this as well. Do you feel like writing the song releases you of it, though, too? Releases you of the thought process through that?
I think it definitely is a great way to work through the emotion. Like, writing that song helped me to like put into words. You ever have those like moments where you're feeling a certain way about something, but you can't like fully explain it, And then like maybe you go to like write about it, or like journal about it, or write a song about it, and like just getting it out there helps you like kind of make it material in your own brain.
Oh yeah.
And then it becomes, it's almost like this thing where it's like, I hate unknowns,
Yeah.
I hate not knowing things, like not knowing what's going on, not knowing what's going to happen. It's that kind of thing for me is pretty like, it makes me feel pretty uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
either like journaling about it, or like writing about it in a song, like it becomes concrete, and then it's like, okay, I can handle this.
Totally.
There's this thing that I have, and now it's like expressed, and I can kind of deal with it.
Totally.
When it's intangible, you're like, I don't know what's going on.
I almost find like when I'm writing, I'll just sit down with the guitar sometimes, and I'll just blurt out whatever comes out. And sometimes that's like truly what I was thinking, or truly what I'm feeling, and I didn't even know that that's really, how I wanted to word it. It just ends up coming out of me like that,
Yeah.
It's almost like manifested. It's like God just like doing it through me. And, and then I can always manipulate it later. But
Yeah.
I'd find that to be the case a lot of the time. So,
It's like a very pure way of doing it. Is that how you write your songs? Like you sit down with an acoustic and kind of start there and then build it in?
Oh man, well, we don't need to get too much into me. This is your podcast, but yeah,
I want to know. Like, this is my first time actually sitting down with you, so it's. Like,
I know, yeah, this is good.
And Runaround was super sick. So
thanks, man.
Your songwriting, I was really impressed, to be honest.
Oh, thank you.
With everything, like, because I remember when Hometown happened, it was like, I was like, Seth Beamer. I was like, I know that name. And then I heard the song, and I was like, oh, he's singing now. Holy shit!
Thanks, man. Thank you. That song has a very big history, and not that I need to go into that, but I will say that I've been writing a long time, wrote a lot for the band Wilderness as well. And, my writing process has been, I hear it in my head. Like, I'm singing songs in my head all day long. And then if it's worthy enough, if it's something that I'd like, I'm just like, this is amazing, then it'll come out on, mostly like just a voice memo.
Oh, okay.
Right, which I'm sure you do as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
We all do. We all have them. And and then sometimes it'll be lyrics, like that'll just pop up like with it. But if the lyrics don't pop up with it, then I at least know the melody, and I always know the bass line with it. If I don't, like, I always either know the lyrics in the bass line and the melody in the bass line, or I know just like the chords in the bass line, and I know like the rhythm in the bass line. But the bass is in there, and maybe that's part of my history too. Fun fact about me is my degree is in jazz bass.
Oh,
and so
really? That's awesome.
I think that has a lot to do with how I think about not just chord progressions, but song structures and movement, like bass movement.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's a big part of my process, is like I hear it in that context as like a whole piece, and then later I can manipulate it and either put words to it or manipulate the words that are already there. But,
nice.
Yeah.
It's almost like a superpower.
It
to be
feels
able to
like
hear,
it, yeah.
to hear the bass line of the song. I mean, because that's it, man. The bass line is like, everything else is secondary to that. When you have that bass line, that is like, I remember reading Victor Wooten's book, The Music Lesson,
Yeah.
which is one of like my biggest inspirations in terms of like my writing. I think that's where my writing went from like a 5 to a 10.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, is reading that book.
Yeah,
and
he's brilliant, man.
Him talking about like the groove of the song and understanding how that like all of that plays into the final product. I mean, like, amazing. If you guys haven't read that book, The Music Lesson is unbelievable. It's one of my favorite books ever.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, man.
But that's awesome, man, to be able to hear that, because everything else just goes around that. Without that foundation, you don't have it, you know. So
Totally, man. Totally. Well, cool. Yeah, we can get more into that, but let's play your song. This is Over It.
Crush the heart that you said you want in your hand like a dollar bill.
And we're back. Woo. Yeah, man.
what a banger.
I know. Well, I want to get some more into your inspirations too. And I know we were talking about before this, Bring Me the Horizon being a big one. But maybe give me some other ones. You said Blink-182. I love Blink-182
Blink-182. Man, I have such a weird eclectic music taste. Like as a DJ, you know, during the day.
Yeah.
Like, I listen to so much different music and I pull from so many different things. I have my own personal taste. Like, you know, I really love stuff like Corpse and Suicide Boys and Ghostmane and Savage Gasp and stuff like that. And then that's like my when I'm on my like, I'm gonna go drive around and like blast some 808s.
Yeah.
Stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then I've been listening to this band called Bill Murray.
Dude, my manager he told me about him.
Yeah.
Isn't it Attack? Isn't he from that?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know anything about them. They just showed up on my Spotify and I was like, Bill, it's like Bilmuri.
Yep.
But I was like, that's awesome. Honestly, pretty cool. Bill Murray.
I'm pretty sure it was it's either Attack or somebody else that I'm trying to think of. But he's the producer for that band.
Oh, really?
And then this is his like solo thing, is Bill Murray.
It's sick. It's really cool. I love that sort of like all emo. I'll also listen to like Hot Mulligan a lot lately.
Yeah.
That's what I've been listening to a good bit. Obviously Blink.
Has it changed through the years? Do you go through phases, or has it been pretty steadily emo shit all the way through?
Oh no, I like totally left behind the emo thing like when I first got into vinyl. You know, I started listening to 1975 a bunch.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, like this is so like I have that, like it's weird, man. I have like eras almost. I feel like that's how I look at it. It's like there was like the era when I was 13, 14 into like 18, you know, and that was like Kings of Leon and Hawk Nelson and Mumford and Sons and like all that kind of like, you know, that sort of like indie Modest Mouse, Death Cab for Cutie, all that stuff.
Cool.
And then I moved into the pop era where it was like 1975, M83, who else? Man, Postal Service, you know, like stuff like that, similar in that genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then kind of moved more into the like once I started DJing more often, it was like more of like the hip hop stuff, you know, like I love Travis Scott and Meek Mill and some of the like more like Suicide Boy stuff too, and
that's cool.
Drake and Kid Cudi, Kid See Ghost, Kanye. Obviously, I know it's like not necessarily like kosher. I mean, like I get it. Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
But it's, you know, for me, it's like, you know, I still really appreciate the music that came out of that. So
that's cool, man. Nice. Yeah. Well, we want to listen to, this is pretty quick right off the bat, listen into another song, but I think we should just get into it.
Yeah.
So this is Strangers by Bring Me the Horizon. What's a memory about this song? Why did you come to the podcast with this song?
This song like came out right. It came out right as I was leaving vinyl, and I remember like hearing it for the first time, and I just like resonated with the lyrics so hard.
Yeah,
it was something where it just struck a chord with me of like, you know, that was kind of how I felt about everything. You know, that sort of like almost being frustrated with myself sort of thing, you know, when the first line is maybe I'll just be fucked up forever, should have figured myself out by now. It's like I resonated with that, so I was like, damn, like that's exactly how I feel. I'm like leaving this band and I feel like I should have had this figured out. I'm 28 going on 29, like what the hell's wrong with me? Like, like why am I not getting it? And it took me a long time to realize that like progress is not a linear thing. It's like this up and down wave that you're just riding. Sometimes it goes a lot forward, sometimes it's just a crawl, but and then like I saw Bring Me Live for the first time, which they've been a band for God knows how long. I mean, they've been a long time, but once I started like allowing myself to really dive into what I like to listen to as opposed to what my band was like trying to sound like, that was when I found them. And really just, I mean, Ollie is such an amazing lyricist, and melody wise, like him and Jordan, their producer and their keyboardist, slash like he's the guy that does like those tom. I don't know if you've seen their live setup where they have like the PVC pipe stuff with like the.
No, but I know I kind of get what you're saying. I've seen people do similar things,
right? Okay. And they're just amazing writers, and like I love the melodies and how it's like it's almost it's metal, but it's pop, and stuff like Bad Omens is great too. I don't know if you ever shout out Bad Omens. They're super tight.
Okay, I don't know them, but I'll check them out.
They're wild. Yeah,
nice.
Good time.
Well, this is Strangers. Bring Me the Horizon.
Maybe I'll just be fucked up forever.
Don't they also have the song, it's like, I can tell by the look in her eyes.
We're going nowhere.
Oh, dude, that song.
Live our lives like we're ready to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the high five tattoo, and he's like wobbly. And, oh, man, growing up, I loved that song.
Dude.
There's just something about that one. But
their live show is insane.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out next time they're through.
They were here with Fall Out Boy at
Fiddler's. My gosh.
I know. It was wild. I was like, what the heck?
Did you go to that show then?
No, I didn't. It was Fiddler's. I was like,
You touched on something earlier that struck a chord with me. And you said something about being in your band and when you were out, how you felt like you could finally listen to the music and be inspired by the things that you were into. And it's funny because I feel the same way about when I left my band.
Yeah.
And how the culture of your band drives, because you're so tight with each other and you're trying to be tight with each other. That's the whole point. You're trying to drive this bus together.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like we sacrifice pieces of ourselves to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to touch on that with you and maybe say that I resonate with that. And is there any other way other than just musically that you feel released of that, and how that has changed from being in a band versus doing the solo career? I know that's kind of a deep question, but
no, I totally get it. I'm glad that resonates, because I think it is something that a lot of people feel. And that's not to say that being in a band is bad. Like, I love being in a band. It's awesome. And like, you learn a lot through those things. But I think I also feel more comfortable like exhibiting the style that I want to, like the way that I dress. I was able to kind of come into that more. I think that when you're in a band and you have this kind of identity together, it's harder to have like your own sort of style, because everybody's trying to be cohesive. Everybody's trying to have, we're doing this photo shoot, and then you got the one guy with the ripped up sweater, and everybody else is wearing, like button ups. It's like, what the hell is going on? So I think stylistically, like clothing wise, for sure.
And you end up shopping together too. You end up being
fun.
On the road, going places and to stores together.
I really did love that. I hope that like this doesn't come across as like, oh fuck being in a band. I hate that.
Much. I mean, I'm there with you. I totally understand. Yeah.
So fun. Like some of my best memories that I've had so far in my life have been with my band. Yeah. But like there's a time and a season for everything. And you grow, and that was a big way. That was one of the biggest things that I noticed, is like the way that I dressed, the music that I listened to, even I still keep up with all of the guys that were in the last iteration of vinyl: Kaike, Hunter, and Andrew. Cool. I literally just talked with Andrew like 2 days ago. He sent me an EP that he's working on. So
cool.
Very cool, and it's great. It sounds awesome. He's like finally, like he was just playing bass in the band, but now he's singing. He's doing that, so he's kind of similar. Yeah. So it's really cool, and he's working with Fonz too.
Oh man, everyone's working with Fonz.
We got to talk about Fonz.
Yeah, we were talking right before the podcast started about Fonz and how he's everywhere and he's just the man.
That is one sexy man right there.
He was on the podcast. He's Valianta for those of you who
he's also
are
known
listening.
by Daddy. So
yeah, but you should go check out that podcast with him. And he's your producer, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
He was the one that like, the day after vinyl ended, he called me and he's like, "Yo, what's going on?" And I was like, "Hey, I think it's time for me to do my own thing." And he was like, "Well, I got you. Whatever you need."
Dude, very cool.
Like, he's one of the realest dudes I've ever known. I've known him for about like 7 years, and like the journey that we've been on as friends together, like he is one of the most realist and like honest friends that I've ever had. Like he's just so like he's so selfless when it comes to like giving you his all. Like he like if he believes in you,
yeah,
and if he's like if like you are lucky enough to be friends with him, then like he is somebody that is like ride or die forever.
It's awesome,
and,
man.
It's great.
I mean, I just got the sense of that even just in the couple times that we've gotten together and gotten to hang out. And he's awesome, man.
And it's cool that he like, I feel like in this world it's so difficult. Like everybody's like super busy, It's like, and it's nobody's fault. Like it's just,
well, we're all getting older too,
Yeah, it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of person that'll call you up and be like, "Hey, let's go grab coffee. Let's just go hang out. Let's go talk. Like, what are you up to? What are you doing?"
Nice. Well, and you guys, I feel like your artistic styles are very similar.
Yeah,
that probably helps too in the studio.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, we kind of push each other in a little bit of a way, like in our independent projects, like in Valianta and like JØHN TYLER as well. Like I've noticed like him shifting more into the rock stuff too, and I'm like, dude, you got to do it. Like his voice is like so good for rock music. It's like
totally.
Like he's like Stephen Christian from Anne Berlin, like he's got that style. I love it.
Does he ever sing on your stuff, like any background stuff? Or?
Yes. Yeah, he has done some stuff. He does like live, so he plays with me live.
Yeah.
And he does the backing vocals and stuff, which is awesome. It's
cool, man.
Amazing to have that, all of the guys in my band can sing. So
you got a 4-piece or what?
Yeah.
Everyone doing harmonies together?
There's so much like going on that I'm like so new to this that I'm just like, let's take this one thing at a time. Like, okay, I know Fonz and he's got a mic, and then E-Rock, that's my other guitarist. I'm like, okay, we're going to get you a mic, and then we'll get to drums with a mic, because I don't know how to get that all.
Yeah.
I need an extra boom mic. I don't have that. So
Nice.
So, it's great though, man. It really is a lot of fun. And
that's cool.
He's such a good dude, man.
And you have a new song that's going to come out, Lonely. Did he produce that as well?
He did. Yeah. So
nice.
He didn't produce, but he mixed and mastered.
Okay.
So he mixed and mastered. You Can't Save Me, Over It, and Lonely are all songs that I self-produced.
Amazing.
Those are all me.
Oh, great, dude. I didn't realize.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, man, you're a great producer.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. There is a ton of stuff coming that we did collaborate on. So like after these 3 singles, I'm releasing an EP. Hold on. What the heck is it called?
Hey, yeah, let's get it right.
I know.
For the listeners.
So I'll lay out my plan, my plan to take over the world with you here.
I love it. Yeah.
Where is it? Hold on a sec. The first EP is going to be called A Glorious Death. And that's going to be releasing after Lonely gets done. And then I have...
And is that the accumulation of your first 3 songs?
It's going to be the first 3 songs plus 2 more. It's going to have an intro track, which is the intro track I've been playing live for the past few shows.
Okay.
And then a bonus track, which I wrote a while ago, like probably like 2 years ago. I wrote it right at the start of my last relationship, the one that Over It was about.
Gotcha.
And then I completely forgot I wrote the song. And then I was talking to my friend Adam, who I've been friends with for like, 15 years. And he was like, "You remember this song you wrote at the start of this relationship? We should finish it now that you're out of it." And I was
funny,
like,
your friend remembered and you didn't.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh," and then I heard it. I was like, "Oh yeah." So it's good. That'll be like 6 songs, I guess. And then after that, a second EP called How It Feels to Be Human. Okay. And that will be another 6 songs.
Cool.
And then after that, I've got a full-length album in the works called Die Famous.
Wow. And so do you have all the songs already written for all of this?
Let me double check. I believe so.
I mean, man, you're on top of it.
Yeah. I have about 18 songs that are all
I don't
written.
have a catalog like that ready to go, like a plan like that. That's amazing.
My brain just, like, that's the only way that I can function. I have
And so it
some
sounds
mental
like
illness, you know.
No, that's
how
amazing.
it
I think
works.
you're an artist, is what it means. It's
Yeah.
just you're an artist.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So, do they connect to each other? It sounds like by the titles, maybe they kind of do.
It's something that like all of these songs were written together in the last few like the last 8 months.
Okay.
About 18 songs. I've written a bunch more, but like those are the ones that like, I think really stuck out to me and allowed me to really put out that, you know, like it's been a lot. I've been through a lot these last few months, and I think the last like almost 12, last like year has been just the wildest ride that I've ever been on. And I thought I was on the wildest ride ever before that, but when life kind of slaps you in the face and makes you wake up, it's like, you know, you have two choices. You either like get up and own it and you go, okay, I'm going to take it. Like, I'm going to go after it. This is my chance. I don't get another one of these.
Yep.
Or you fall harder into what pushed you into that place.
Yep.
And I wasn't going to I remember, because I originally did get sober to try to win my ex back. And I remember the day that I heard that she wrote me this letter, and she was like, you know, hey, I'm not doing this. It's too little, too late. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, what are you gonna do? Stop? And like I literally like laughed in my like to myself. I was like, well, no, absolutely not. Like this is just it's time to go.
That was just what the catalyst to make you the person that you're supposed to be the whole time. Yeah.
And those things suck, you know. They really like going through heartbreak and going through like making like mistakes that you have to own. Like really sucks, you know. But I don't think that you get to where you are supposed to be without those mistakes.
Absolutely.
And like the name of this podcast, Pivot Points. Yeah. Like that moment last year, August, was the exact, I can pinpoint it. That's the exact pivot point of my life where it shifted, where I left that band, which I was scared to do for years, you know, and decided like, you know, screw the fear. I don't care. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I went after it. And like the return on that has been so awesome. Just like coming back to me, like it's been really reassuring. I was terrified, you know.
Totally.
I'm leaving this band. Like everybody knows me as Tyler from Vinyl, and now I'm going by JØHN TYLER. What the heck? I got two first names.
You've put all this, you know, just investment emotionally and otherwise into it.
Right.
And,
and there is definitely some of that sunk cost fallacy with like leaving a project or even a relationship that's like toxic, you know. You're like, I've already put in this much time. I really shouldn't leave this. But like, if you can get over that, what's waiting on the other side is like really amazing.
Dude,
you know?
well, congrats on all your success, man. And like, seriously, you're making some of the best music I've probably ever heard from you. So congrats, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, congrats.
Seriously.
So this is your song, Lonely. And we'll listen to this and then we'll close it out. But I guess anything else you want to say about it? We don't know exactly for sure when it's coming out, right? This is a Pivot Points exclusive.
You guys are getting the first listen of this song, like of anybody.
Nice. Okay.
Of anyone besides like my circle, you know?
Totally.
Like this is the first time anybody's going to hear it on a platform. So I'm thinking September. I'm turning 29 this year on September 29th.
Very cool.
So
golden birthday.
Maybe we'll do the golden birthday release. That might be the move.
Nice, man.
Put some energy into it. Get my crystals out, you know. And wait for the full moon.
I love it. Nice. Well, this is Lonely.
On its own life is
Dude, JØHN TYLER, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Emo Jesus, I should say. I never did say it in the whole time.
Oh, it's all good.
I was looking for my moment, but for those of you out there, if you know JØHN TYLER, that's what he goes by in the scene here.
The Canadians call me the Emo Jesus.
The Canadians? Yeah.
I did this podcast with this Canadian radio station, and they were like, JØHN TYLER, also known as the Emo Jesus. And I was like, I like the emo.
The emo, dude, that's hilarious that they coined that for you.
It's funny. And then I did this. I was like, I didn't do the podcast, but they reviewed "You Can't Save Me" on another one, and that seems to be like they're like, who the heck is Emo Jesus? Like, I didn't even come up with that. That was Hunter's girlfriend. She coined that title.
That's so funny, dude. Oh my gosh. Well, Emo Jesus, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, Seth.
That's all we got, folks. Thanks so much for listening to the Pivot Points Music Cast. You can listen to the Pivot Points Music Cast and more on the Fader app. My name's Seth Beamer, and I'll talk to you soon.